Album ritratti, Lura Fiz-Zmien,
Lura Fiz-Zmien,
pajjiż motiħor, milli nafjien, titħabbek miegħu bla ma trid, u kemm nixtieq impara l-ftit li jerġa' dak iż-żmien mill-ġdid. Li jerġa' dak iż-żmien mill-ġdid.
Lura għat-tieni parti. It-tieni parti tal-programm tagħna u t-tieni parti tal-dokumentarju The Knights of St. John.
The Hospitaller Knights of St. John faced two principal problems. The first was to rebuild the order after the appalling bloodletting at Acre. As the rear guard, they were the last 7 knights to leave Outremer. The second was to find their purpose after the fall of the Holy Land. From their temporary base in Cyprus, the knights focused their attention on the island of Rhodes. The location and natural resources made Rhodes a perfect base for the order. At a time when the Ottoman Empire did not possess a powerful navy, and the knights' flank was securely held by a Christian emperor in Constantinople. Rhodes, where the Aegean and Mediterranean meet, is situated on the borders of 2 worlds. The castle of Monolithos, perched on a pinnacle 600 feet in the air, became a key military outpost for the knights. Divided from the continent of Asia Minor by a channel only 20 miles wide, the island is strategically placed between the pilgrims' routes to the Holy Land and the knights' old enemy, the Ottoman Turk. The order became sovereign in Rhodes, with a prince and 3 classes of knights: the Knights of Justice, the Chaplains of Obedience, and the Serving Brothers. Rhodes has a rich historical tapestry, yet the occupation of the Knights of St. John has left the most permanent impression. Fort St. Nicholas sits on the tip of the Mandrake Harbor Mole. From the time of its construction, the small detached fort was a key point in the defense of the old city. The largest in a 12-island chain called the Dodecanese, Rhodes is also the 4th largest island in Greece. The castle area is within its own defensive ring of walls. Here dwelt the Grand Master in his palace and his knights in their alberges. The military knights who came to dominate the order completely had to prove noble birth without taint of illegitimacy for 4 generations. They were the most exclusive aristocratic body in Europe. "19 Grand Masters ruled Rhodes, most of them of French extraction. All left their mark, but some left their mark in stone. The city walls were the final fortification of Rhodes. The various gates and bastions divided the walls into 8 sections. Each section was to be defended by one of the order's 8 langs. The moat encircling the old city was 120 feet wide and above sea level. It was filled with water only as a defensive measure employed by the knights. The famous Colossus of Rhodes was toppled by an earthquake over 2,000 years ago. The bronze giant was cut up into small pieces and sold to the Saracens. Tradition has it that Colossus returned to Rhodes in the form of cannonballs hurled at the knights. For 6 months in 1522, the island shook with the bombardment of battle. Night and day the heavy guns thundered, steel clashed, blood flowed, and men died. "500 years have passed since the knights left Rhodes forever, but the old city has changed little since their departure. Lindos has been inhabited since the 12th century BC. The knights are credited only with the construction of the palace of the commander and the staircase which ascends to the entrance of the castle. A natural fortress, its strategic position made Lindos a crucial possession for conquering armies down through time. The Acropolis of Lindos was one of the autonomous states colonized by a Hellenic tribe called Dorians. The castle's highest point is the Temple of Athena. The beauty of Lindos is in the blending of nature and the works of man. They stand together on a rock 350 feet above the water below. Huddled in the shadow of the Acropolis rests the well-sheltered harbor of St. Paul. St. Paul, on a mission to bring Christianity to Rhodes, is said to have landed here about 58 AD. The apostles' ship, threatened by a storm, was unable to find the main harbor. A miraculous bolt of lightning split the rocks asunder and created this tiny bay, expressly for the saints' benefit. Palermos is located on a large plateau. The knights extended the old Byzantine fortifications and built a church and monastery. The knights refer to their order as the religion and their base as the convent. It is the 4th oldest order in the Catholic Church. Who was the Knight Hospitaller? Entitled to wear the 8-pointed white cross, the 4 arms signifying prudence, justice, fortitude, and temperance. He was a monk, but he had not abandoned the world. He was not a priest, but a lay brother, who had taken a vow of poverty, chastity, and obedience. It was a harsh profession. Our Lady of Palermos is said to have been painted by St. Luke in the 1st century AD. Lost to the knights since 1941, Our Lady was discovered in an Orthodox monastery in former Yugoslavia. Our Lady is one of the three great treasures of the order. Known as the Madonna of the Knights, at present, the icon is being restored in a Marian monastery in Montenegro. The Knight's ability to adapt to complete change turned defeat into a success that lasted 200 years. When the Knights made their descent on Rhodes in 1306, Thalraklos was the first fortress from which they raised the banner of St. John. The Knights of Rhodes withstood several Ottoman sieges. In 1480, the island was besieged by the vanquisher of Constantinople. After 89 days, the Sultan Mahomet the Great folded his tents and sailed for home in disgrace. When Suleiman the Magnificent appeared off Rhodes with 700 warships and 200,000 men, it looked as if he might suffer the same fate as his predecessor. But the battle lines between Christendom and the Ottoman Empire had shifted hundreds of miles. All the Knights could usefully do was move to a new position on that line. Treason in the Knights' own camp caused the final capitulation of Rhodes. Grandmaster Philip Villiers de l'Isle Adam, with the usual number of 500 knights and 6,000 soldiers, held out for 6 months. On a cold January 1st in 1523, a single trumpet sounded the fall of Rhodes. The Hospitallers took little with them to show for over 2 centuries of power and triumph at sea. Only their personal belongings, their holy relics, and their many wounded. Time and man have conspired to destroy the castles and temples. A gaunt sentinel, Thalraklos, was the last Hospitaller outpost to surrender.
ليرجع ذاك الزمن من جديد.
F'Malta il-kavalleri mhux biex taw semhom huma, imma kienu mejjuna mill-poplu Malti, mejjuna mill-Maltin. Kif qed nindunaw anke minn dan id-dokumentarju, il-kavalleri ma tawx is-servizz biss lil Malta, il-Rodi u l-Ġerusalem, imma taw servizzi lil qatt ta' midruba, il-qatt ta' nies illi kellhom bżonn jiddewwew jew nkella kellhom bżonn xi tip ta' għajnuna mingħand il-kavallieri. Ħammorru għal pawsa ta' riklami, nerġgħu nkunu magħkom għat-tielet parti minn hawn u ftit ieħor.
Album ritratti lura fiż-żmien, pajjiż mod ieħor milli naf jien. Titħabbeb miegħu bla ma trid u kemm nixtieq impara l-ftit li jerġa' dak iż-żmien mill-ġdid. Li jerġa' dak iż-żmien mill-ġdid.